All right, welcome to Halitics. I'm Hal Ginsberg. So glad to be joined by friend of Halitics, Jay Waxse. Jay, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm okay. Making it.
It's rough, man. It's rough out there. I'm smiling. It's great to see. It's great to reconnect after, I guess, over a year. But obviously, the news is just so grim. We're going to talk about what you're doing to try to make life a little better for people living in the worst place probably in the world right now.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, Hal. And like you mentioned, we hope my dear brother Mohammed, Habboush, can join. The connection in Gaza is very unstable, but yeah, it's so good to be back. Last time we were talking about the planet on the edge of climate breakdown, and now talking about what's happening in Gaza. So really appreciate your space.
I appreciate your work on these issues. I talk about the genocide and the ecocide, and I think our minds, our senses are in the same place. These are the two greatest tragedies that we face. And as awful as the climate crisis is, and even though it affects all of us and all life, I look at the specific mass murder, right, that's being committed by Israel and the United States. Yeah. Certainly with the full support. Israel, I guess, are cat's paw. I don't know how you want to look at it, or the other way around. That to me is the ultimate issue we have to address as if we care about people, care about life.
Absolutely, and they're so interlinked. Palestine, like literally geographically, is like the ultimate intersection, and as a topic, it is the most intersectional topic, I think, as well, because with even the climate as a consideration, the amount of bombs dropped by Zionist forces that we've backed in the last almost 2 years now, the amount of bombs dropped there have been responsible for more emissions than 100 countries. And so there's some existential threats here. And I feel so lucky to have met and to known some Palestinians on the ground in Palestine and Palestinian Americans that have informed my activism to really dive into what can be done on even such a hard scenario. Such as this, through mutual aid and through all the things. We'll get into a little bit some of the amazing organizations that are somehow on the ground trying to make a difference. And it's really reality bending. So glad to get into it with you.
Well, the situation, we always spotlight and center the victims in the past 24 hours on Halitics, or the past weekend on Mondays. And you see the death toll just keeps climbing. I think we know, Jay, that this is really just a fraction of the total number of victims of Israel, 57,800. So that would be maybe 3+% if that was the limit. But when you look at the damage, just what the area looks like, you get the reports from the doctors, people on the ground. Maybe we'll hear from Mohammed. This seems like a very small, low number compared to probably the hundreds of thousands who Israel probably has killed by this point.
Absolutely. How are you familiar? We ran in some same circles in D.C. Did you ever work with Ralph Nader?
I spoke to Ralph Nader many, many, many years ago. Shortly after his abortive attempt to. Well, it wasn't abortive, after he ran for president in 2000. And let me just say this, it didn't go well. I wasn't a fan then, and I'm not such a fan even now. Yeah. But why is he pertinent to this conversation?
Yeah, no. So, I mean, I think just his clarity of vision on ethics, like I hear you in terms of the strategic element. He's even reflected to say that he probably wishes he would have ran as a Democrat. But in a couple articles, but I was just thinking about this topic. I really am grateful for his journalism. There's a beautiful paper in DC called Capitol Hill Citizen, and it really outlines the corruption on the Hill. And I think your viewers probably know that it's very deep, said corruption. And so, and corporate crimes that are protected and happening in that building on the Hill. And so, but he and the Capitol Citizen wrote an article about when we're talking about this death count in Gaza and the severe undercount that we see in so many places. And not only that, but you see people say, oh, by the Hamas-run health ministry, by the Gaza health ministry, when by Euromed Health Monitor and all these other sources, they've had such good tracking. But yeah, the severe undercount is pretty deep. We had an article, this is last year, this is in 2024, but had it where the end count, as we see numbers like 50,000, 60,000, it's more like 300,000, if not larger. Those missing, those uneven able to be identified. We're at a beyond a genocide level. We're at a Holocaust level event. As hard and as considerate as we have to be while saying that, there's hundreds of thousands of lives that have been taken in this conflict, and it's just such a travesty that even journalists or more international health workers aren't allowed in to even qualify these things. So the fog of war, the fog of a Holocaust, sure is thick these days.
100%. I don't see any moral distinction between what Israel is doing today with the full support of the United States and what the Nazis did, 80-something years ago. I don't see how we can make a claim that the Nazis were morally worse. In some ways, I think you can make a case that the Israeli people are more to blame, because they do have a kind of a democracy there, and they do support with full knowledge exactly what Israel is doing.
And a very strong, well above majority of defending ethnic cleansing, defending the lack of innocent lives that they perceive in Gaza. It's really horrendous. And yeah, I mean, how many, you've probably seen this, Hal, of how many folks that literally survived Auschwitz that are now calling upon what is happening in Gaza as another Holocaust-like experience. So we don't even have to go too far to see those that lived through one in the 30s and 40s and the ones that's showing up today.
Yeah, it's so heartbreaking. And, we do what we can, and you're doing more than almost anybody else. The link to Jay's TikTok page, and that's where you can really go to do work with him. And again, we're trying to get Mohammed Habboush, who is a family member of a family that Jay is sponsoring and working with and getting aid to, getting assistance to. So if you want to help with that project, and I do recommend it, I actually have also helped Jay, please go to his TikTok page, tiktok.com/@waxsebird. There's no dot. It's just @waxsebird. It's right there in the show description, and also his Facebook page as well. You can also just anytime reach out to me, and I'll connect you guys. So it's all there, and it's in the description. So even if you miss it, you don't have to quickly write down what Jay has there. 82 bodies brought. We know there's a lot of, just in the past 24 hours, a lot of folks in the rubble. I'm glad you mentioned that these numbers are consistently being checked and rechecked. And even those who dismiss them, like the New York Times, which will only point out that the numbers come from the, quote, Hamas run, unquote, health ministry, as though that somehow makes them less credible. They've never challenged the actual numbers. No one's come out and said, oh no, these people really aren't dead. Those pictures are all simply photoshopped. That hasn't happened.
Yeah, no, it's really beyond even our imagination at this point. I think that's why you don't allow and you don't see international journalists, and like, God bless the beautiful press that does exist on the ground in Gaza, the amazing Palestinians that maybe they didn't think that they would be in a career of reporting these gruesome facts, but find themselves called to do so because, again, no European, no American, no Asian, no African journalist is allowed in that space to observe the war crimes. And any reporting that we have from Bisan, from all these beautiful journalists that stand there and that have been martyred, we have so much to thank for not letting these war criminals hide as much as they would like things to be hidden. We just saw when they bombed the data center that they know most Gazans is their only lifeline have to the outside world. I work with Mohammed's family, but work with some others as well. And yeah, no, thank you, Hal. It's just bringing light to this. There's not any amount that is enough until we can end the occupation and truly liberate Palestine. But the only thing that this, as Mohammed said to me when we first connected, he said, Jay, brother, what would you do? What would you do in the situation that I'm in? he's there trapped in his apartment. You leave, you get tanks, you get airstrikes, you get all kinds of things. What would I do? I would have done the same thing as him. The one thing I have is internet. I would reach out to people with a good conscience and a good heart for the Palestinian cause and try to find what lifelines are out there. And so that's what we've done. And even though it's like the definition of terror and a nightmare, my connection and friendship with these amazing folks in Gaza, like it's we smile and laugh every day, and we smile and laugh every day, even with the situation that we're facing. And so just showing that human spirit, as Palestinians do so well. I think that it's a powerful thing, and they deserve everything that we can do, sending the ships, freedom flotillas, sending whatever aid, pressuring to get in to the Gaza Strip that we can. They're calling for it. They're calling for our hands. We need our hands in this fight.
Jay, you see the numbers there. They're just statistics, but every single life is a human life, is precious, is valuable. And obviously, we've lost sight of that fact. We've given power in our country. The Israelis have given power in their country to sociopaths who do not value human life at all, clearly. And you see that very, almost certainly a very significant understatement of the total deaths. And I'm choking up 2 now, 57, 762, 82 yesterday. And Trump, responsible, overseeing over 7,000 since he took power. Both parties, this is clearly a bipartisan mass murder, a bipartisan pogrom or pogroms. You mentioned Nader, and in at that time, I just want to go back to that for a moment because we're talking about politics, we're talking about the two parties, we're talking about the Green Party. I have become a Green. I endorse Green Party candidates. I voted for Jill Stein in 2024 and in 2016. I take the position that the Democratic Party has gotten worse since 2000. Maybe I'm too forgiving of them. But that's why I'm I'm still not totally on the Ralph Nader train. I just want to clarify that. Now, you may want to respond, and if you do, please do. I'm happy to have that.
Only because I love Ralph. I love the whole team. I think, as we mentioned before, there's a lot of reflection about things in hindsight, but at the core, part of the reason we all wear seatbelts is because of Mr. Nader. Unsafe at any speed, one of his first consumer protections to know that these cars are dangerous. We should all wear seatbelts. That career, along with the removing of bloat and waste in so many different federal agencies, I've just learned so much from the community that Ralph Nader is a part of, along with the amazing journalism that we talked about earlier, with the severe undercount. Any time you were even saying 50,000 or 60,000 deaths, it's really serving the Zionists' narrative, because it's well over 200,000. How are you going to specifically identify that when how many hundreds of children's bodies are trapped under the buildings that they once called their home, or in the sand that they were calling their tent their home? These numbers are very difficult, but to align on, but it's in the hundreds of thousands. And the fact that we don't put more onus on quote unquote Israel, that they don't allow these numbers to be verified. We see what happens when journalists get let in, when ceasefires happen. We discover mass graves, we discover ambulances buried in the sand, and we don't need to question or wonder too much longer. I mean, we're in this, but the public should know that this is 250,000 people taken out in less than 2 years, and it's a treasure that must be stopped. And for Palestine and everybody else that's suffered at the hands of imperialism and colonialism from the U.S. or otherwise, we've got to not rest until Palestine is free, and it will be free. So it's just a matter of how long and how quickly we can do it with how many hands that we have in this fight. And I have some links in my bio that are really supportive lifelines, both on Facebook. You can just find with my name, and on TikTok. Those are links that I've vetted personally. But as Hal, you mentioned, if anybody reaches out to you, feel free to reach out to me. I'm an organizer. I love that stuff. I'm not going to curse on your show, but I love that so much.
I appreciate that. You can. I mean, there's no law against it. It's not like the radio where I actually got fined a lot of money because I had a guy who, he just didn't stop. It was horrible. I mean, it was like watching it and I was just in pain, just listening to that. But
that's a train that once it gets off the rails, it's probably hard to keep back. But all I was going to say is I love this shit. And if anybody wants to connect, these are very unique matters, but just my connections that I've made with the people of Gaza with a lot of effort and a lot of care, a lot of trust. It's been the only reason that I find any faith or any hope in this world in this last 2 years. And my buddy Mohammed, of course, but his kids and all the beautiful mothers and nurses and different folks that we've come in contact with in Gaza. You just look at it. We're waiting on Mohammed, but I know this is kind of rudimentary, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm going to put it up there. But yeah, that's a great picture of you guys. Or not? That's his brother. Is that him and his brother?
Yeah,
or who?
Him and his brother. He's got brother Jabril, brother Ismail, and they're beautiful. The Habboush family is really well known in Gaza. Big business family of traders, has been for surprise whole lineages, great grandfathers, whole lines of people that have been on this land and doing their best to be people with a good heart and to show up as they can. So I'm grateful to be here and talk about this. This is a photo that you're just putting up of event that we threw in Gaza, in North Gaza, at a refugee camp. For gosh sakes, like Mohammed knew that this was happening, wanted to make sure that we could support it. He surprised me with the photo printout of me there in the background.
Yeah, I was going to say, who's that guy in the background there?
Yeah, I got my midnight blue keffiyeh.
It's pretty hard not to recognize you.
Yeah,
pretty distinctive look.
He said, Jay, I have a surprise for you. Can you send me some photos of you? You'll see why tomorrow. And then he goes to a printer that they still can find in Gaza, alhamdulillah, somehow, and brings that into the tent. There was 6 amazing organizers for this event that we helped support them. And all of these kids, we were on a video chat the whole time, so I got to meet a lot of them. He's actually talking with me on the phone right there. And just what a blessing. Like even amidst this terror, like, girl, look at that girl's smile. Like we were able to bring a little distraction of happiness into this constant onslaught. And that's my brother. We had some face painting. They had a clown that has been going around the camps in Gaza to try to keep kids' minds off of the warplanes that are circling over their heads. So the level of life and humanity that has been pouring out of these relationships, I've just been trying to keep up. I just want to do them justice, and I know one day we'll get a chance getting to Gaza to meet them, meeting here in America. We're not going to be satisfied until we can meet up in person, because these are my brothers now. These are my real comrades.
Well, I love those pictures. It's really just to see the humanity is so important and to understand it. And so thank you for sharing it. Thank you, Mohammed. I don't know if he's listening. Maybe he is. If you can call in, we'd love to talk to you. I don't know whether dialing in is less bandwidth intensive. You had mentioned how challenging it can be to get any kind of technology connection.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so rough, and I do see that now our messages are being delivered to his phone, whether he can actually get them or not. But yeah, how exactly this connection is very unstable. There are some times where you get a better Wi-Fi source, but other times a lot of folks there rely on eSIMs, which are a SIM that you can digitally have on your phone that can collect like a network carrier, kind of like Verizon in the US or other ones. If you're close to the occupation border, you can catch the signal from over the other side of the wall. And so some folks rely on that. But yeah, at various times, the brutal occupation had bombed the data center so that for 5 days there was a complete blackout. We know that they escalated attacks during that time, and we saw a lot of more martyrs, more folks taken. But in terms of that connection, yeah, the data center was bombed, and then when they tried to go back to repair it, they shot at them to prevent them from fixing the connection. So thank God, by the grace of God, we have a connection that has been back in touch here and there, but it's definitely unstable. So yeah, with folks, we have, some time together still. Maybe Mohammed will be able to get a connection and join us. But one thing we do on TikTok is we do a live stream from Gaza and from Chicago. I'm in Chicago. And we get together and talk about the issues of what's happening that day or that week in Gaza, and sometimes we'll even meet some other folks on TikTok in Gaza, in Palestine, other folks around the globe that have wanted to stand in solidarity. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to again thank you for what you're doing and bringing the humanity right to us with the imagery from the home. And it's nice to see something positive and home-like and heartwarming, as opposed to just the endless destruction. The buildings just collapse. The children with the blood is just so horrific. And, and I'm just going to ask you, if you haven't yet, I'll do it just one time. Please do subscribe to Halitics. We got to get those. Keep seeing them growing, but it's a slow slog. Hopefully we'll get there. We appreciate Jay joining us and helping push, because we're all going in the same direction. We all want to make things a little better. Jay, I just wanted to say this about the children that we see, the families, the love that obviously a brother has for his siblings, a parent for their child, and child for their parents. And I've heard people say and you certainly heard this from the victims of the Nazi genocide, and certainly here too, is that they lose faith in humanity. They lose faith in the goodness in people. And I think, we're all good and bad. I mean, there's an admixture. But what makes this so horrific, what Israel is doing right now, what the United States is doing, what makes it so horrific is that there is good in people. There is love. There is beauty in terms of what we can create as in art, music, in any endeavor. So we're destroying that. We're wiping it out. If we were all just dark, if it was all just basically evil, then all right, well, we're all bad, we all die. But it's not like that. It's good people, it's decency. And even in the worst people, there may be something good, a kernel of love and concern for others.
Exactly. I mean, we all see that famous photo of in Nazi Germany where there's a speech where, I don't know if it was with Hitler or whatever Nazi leader, but they were all doing the salute, and there was one guy that was refusing, and was the picture of resistance. And amen. How, I mean, that like with what's happening now, as far as what we can tell, really from the prisons where these illegal political prisoners of Palestinians are kept in quote unquote Israel, they have a very deep commitment towards trying to remove life from the source of where it's coming from. And so, with the way that in Palestine, they're trying the same things to make it a place that nobody would seem to want to live. Okay, well, with all their plans, with all the desires to make Gaza seem unlivable, we see that there is still a everlasting commitment to joy, to community, to, even while drones are circling over a refugee camp, there's a clown inside dancing and playing a game, because the parents of these children know they don't deserve only terror, only cries, only fear, where they can't even sleep because they know that more attacks are coming. But to break that, the light of humanity shines so bright as it does in Palestine, that even in this scenario that none of us can even begin to imagine what it would be like to have, every time we get on a signal call with Mohammed, I hear the hum and the buzz of a drone and of a warplane. And so when that is your constant life for them to still choose joy and togetherness, it's incredible. And I agree with you. There's good in all groups, and even this is probably even being a little bit more compassionate than I need to be in this moment. But like even those people in the nation of Israel, quote unquote Israel, the nation of the U.S., where all these dehumanization and Islamophobia and certain things are happening, no people should be convinced by the government that there's another group of people that are so, dehumanized to think that we would justify any of these war crimes. All of our humanity is under assault here if we don't recognize that every human, every child is precious. It has the chance to should have the chance to live a life that can incorporate joy, friendship, laughter, play, all these things. Every child deserves that. And anything that's standing in our way, whether it's we're an American citizen, Israeli citizen, we need to buck that trend that puts any human on any other level of deserving dignity or joy. And I think that what we see in Gaza and Palestine really puts the pressure on that. And just to put a point on it, as Palestinians have a real strong way with words, because you can just feel how am I going to make sense of this world? There's not many things that can make this make sense, but the poetry and some of the expression that we see out of Palestine, it's very strong. And one thing that Mohammed said to me, Mohammed Habboush, my brother, without him even batting an eye, he says, Gaza distributes dignity to the rest of the world. An export of dignity by just imagining, seeing, witnessing what's happening to the humans there. We need to refresh what dignity means and how it can be protected rather than attacked.
Yeah, it's really awful. I'm just putting up this image right now. We had a little tech issue. I wanted to just clean everything out. And also just, again, we see the family, but this is what Israel and the United States have done to once was, a thriving, beautiful nation. And, that's just the way it is. It's horrible. It's horrific, but we can't close our eyes to it or pretend it isn't happening. You're proponent of direct aid. You are actually raising money. You're giving your own money. You're raising money for the Habboush family. Is that what you believe is the best way that individuals can make a difference for the folks there?
I think it's the best direct way, so that we know that there are literally lives that we can impact and change. And that I can't tell you how many folks I've met through this effort of mutual aid in Gaza, that $10 can make a world of difference, because it means a bag of flour where the days before they went without bread, let alone trying to find cooking oil and a safe place to make this stuff. Sometimes you have to use wood and plastic to even burn anything to be able to cook something. So like the challenges of looking at what is around to have to keep your family alive, to keep your crying children who are crying out in hunger, to keep them fed. The equation is basically unsolvable, but it can become solvable when we help with donations that, for all the issues that exist, there are still things to be found in Gaza. The people are very resilient. The markets that existed, for example, pasta has a very strong shelf life. And so we all have probably seen the flour that sometimes makes it in, sometimes doesn't. Sometimes it's spilled on the sand by the settlers that are protesting it at the border. Sometimes it's laced with oxycodone, as we've been seeing recently. The flour massacre that happened when people were collecting, it's even this flour, which is a very basic commodity that people seek, it's not guaranteed. So our money, there are markets there, and the costs are completely out of whack. A chicken, if it can be found, is about $180. One single chicken. Like New York and LA are expensive, but you're not going to see that price. An egg, one single egg is usually $5. So a dozen eggs, $60. We complain about egg prices here. In Gaza, a dozen is $60 if you can even find it. So there's these dynamics that the cost is run off the rails. But if a $10, $20, $30 donation can come through, you've given some support, Hal. I'm just so grateful for that. We're so grateful for that. it can really make or break a mother's life towards trying to figure out a way to provide for their kids. People have been boiling tree leaves. People have been killing pigeons to try to cook them, to eat them for their families. So this is definitely, and again, bless you for bringing up UNRWA. There's the
Red Crescent. We were talking about this offline before we went on, and I just posted. This is a question I actually sent to not you, but another Facebook friend who, with whom I have a mutual FB friend, and because my page now is very obviously overtly pro-Palestine, and I think it's gotten to other folks, including Palestinians, and I've been importuned for money, which I have to admit I don't love, but I also want to make sure people are helped. I personally feel more comfortable giving to UNRWA, to Red Crescent. They are reputable agencies. I do worry about scams. What is your response to me and to others who would feel, I think, have a very similar feelings?
Yeah, no, first response is thank you for the question. People asking is the first step to caring and to doing it, because, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, but it seems a little tricky. And it is. It very much is. How could somebody say that a situation like this is simple, of verifying identity with somebody that's literally living through a Holocaust? Like that is such a massive challenge, and it isn't a small thing. So I really appreciate questions like this. I get them a lot. And the answers that I provide, I'm very proud of at this point, of developing these relationships with my situation, my relationship and friendship and brotherhood with Mohammed. We video chat every day. So that kind of a trust building is so easy to gain that trust. You see, you hear the airstrikes. Like, this is a sad reality none of us should accept. But at this point, people in Gaza are very used to what an airstrike sounds like. And when one is coming in, I hear Mohammed say, oh my God. And depending on the loudness, like some of us feel in other places of the world with thunder, you count thunder. Yeah, you hear you see the strike, and then you count it, see how far away it is. They're doing that with bombs. And when these bombs hit, I can hear it on the video chat. And so that's one way that I know through video chat it's been verified. I've had other connections of people that folks in Gaza will go outside. They'll write their name on a piece of notebook paper and say, hey, Jay, my name is Sahar, dear sister that I've talked with. And she'll write, it's July 17th. I love you. This is me. And show a picture of their kid and that kind of thing. We'll also be real. It's not easy to say that you can get to 100% point of trust up until you develop a relationship like Mohammed and I have, which is, video chatting all the time, which might not be the most accessible thing. So while I am the strongest advocate for people that feel like they want to give to a story of somebody in Gaza trying to survive, it is just one way. And so through supporting UNRWA, supporting Red Crescent, supporting Mecca, supporting CARE, supporting CAIR or MECA, there's some of these orgs that are doing really great work. There's, with activism, with social change, we need all tactics. Yeah,
and I was just thinking something else, Jay, and this is obviously because you have a personal relationship. Obviously, we have the TikTok.com, so please do check out Jay's TikTok page, friend him on Facebook. But also, if you know a Palestinian, right? If you know someone in this country who's Palestinian, then talk to them. I mean, they have friends, relatives.
There's political solutions. There's so many things, and I think with these direct connections, sure there are scams. Sure there are scenarios where people are taking advantage of the situation, and people can be any level of thorough about that. But when you look at a human story and you look at pictures, you look at to see, say on somebody's Instagram account, as a lot of Gazans have had, unfortunately, Meta's faced that with a lot of repression and closing of accounts without reason. But when you have enough pictures of children and them recounting and literally giving verbal testimonies from their home, from the beach in Gaza. Like, at a certain point, how are you going to stage this? How are you going to fake this? What is the realistic scenario that somebody is literally, scams exist, but they're not like ones that they're able to use all this technology in the world to fake their children's experience of walking down a street looking for food or water.
Well, like the pictures you shared, right? Like those photos that we put up. And these just seem so, again, we have to be, at some point, you have to have some trust. You have to have some belief that this isn't AI, right? That this isn't some.
Look at these kids' faces and like, this is, for God's sakes, like my picture on the wall of a tent in Gaza, and so like, this example really shines it through as a day of humanity where, again, just the kids to have games and some positive happiness and experience. But, there's also the full range, how like in another connection I have, Mohammed Nabhan in the South, his English isn't as good. And so if we're video chatting, Mohammed Habboush, my respect to my brother, because he saw America and saw a lot of things about it, was very curious and wanted to learn English to be able to converse with Americans. And he did it over the course of years. And so him and I can converse very freely. I work with others that don't have as strong of English skills, but can text and write it out very well. And so that's like a predominant form of our connection. But to add to trust levels to that, Mohammed and his wife Layla were very generous with wanting to make sure that I felt comfortable. And so they, for God's sake, sent pictures of literally their Palestinian Authority ID. Both of them.
Right.
Yeah,
I was thinking of that too, taking photos where you show a site, right? Like that's clearly Gaza, that kind of with yourself, a selfie. That's even the U.S. government accepts that as identification.
Exactly. And I have my bank account. I use direct. I run a couple GoFundMe's, and one of them I do direct. My bank. I won't get into details because that'd be just silly. But my bank, which is a pretty big bank in this country, is able to direct wire transfer money to their Bank of Palestine. And so, there's all these verification things that, like you're saying, on an international level, most things do qualify for banking verification. And so, these can, and especially, I just want to say this one part again, that like their stories, their accounts that they'll go to social media to try to find a way to survive. The continued story that we see through pictures, through the narrative, through loss of life, through whatever is happening, like these stories, I think we all have a big sense in us of what a true human story feels like. And we can see that. And if it means that in some of these GoFundMe's, we see that and we feel that as genuine, what's the risk of sending, and it's not even risk, what's the upside of sending $5 or $10 to a family, a mother trying to provide for her babies? Like if we feel it in our hearts that this story is authentic, just as if somebody was in Maryland and was trying to fight their way to baby formula and they made it GoFundMe and we felt that was true, it's on the same playing field, and so it's definitely a heck of a thing to figure out. But, as an organizer and activist for 5-6 years now, I've gotten pretty good at it. And I think that's why it's my duty to help use that experience to help others to feel more comfortable and to know that there are all these friendships and connections that are possible with folks in Palestine. And there's definitely vetting is a big part of it and how to do that well. But we're seeing how big of a prevalence this issue is, and we're wanting to start a group tentatively right now called Gaza Connect Initiative to help understand how people can establish trust with these campaigns. And GazaFunds.com, Operation Olive Branch. There's a lot of other orgs that take.
I think those are great. That's a great idea. Let me just here quickly promote our Facebook page as well. We like to have the conversation on Facebook as well, have a back and forth, a dialogue. That's what really we're about here in Halitics, is getting various viewpoints, and they don't have to all agree. We don't have to always see things the same way. Often we don't. Obviously, Jay and I do, certainly in this area. I wanted to just sort of shift gears a little bit Jay, the last time you were on, we were both working actually. You were a staffer at Climate Defiance. I was a volunteer. And one of the points I made pretty, I think, assertively was that it was a both sidesism, right? It's the Republicans and the Democrats. It's not the Republicans and the Democrats aren't so good. It was that they're both really, really bad and they're both the problem. And I see that exact same dynamic in the situation in Gaza. Do you share that view? Do you see hope in either political party or in either political party's leadership? I know you gave me the fist bump when I mentioned voting Green and for Joel Stein. Is that our only answer? And this is a long-winded question, but I do see hope in Mamdani. And of course, all of this is centered around changing our policy, our cruel, our genocidal pro-Israel policy.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, just to reference one point of hope that you were mentioning, who we do have as allies of politicians, and you mentioned Mamdani. I think that it is exciting in that way, and as I work with the Poor People's Campaign as well, and we never celebrate a politician for doing their job. And so with Mamdani, we see that he is able to tap into what the people are ready for. And so I want to celebrate us. I want to celebrate the movement to know that we are rising to a point that at the biggest city in this country, we have a mayor that's getting ready to be somebody that actually reflects our desire to not, as the mayor of New York, go to Israel and to go make some show out of that, but to actually represent the people. Here, Mohammed's calling me. 1 second, Carl. Maybe if you put me on mute, I can just see what the situation is. Hey, Mohammed.
I'm so sorry. I'm late because I was waiting. I was making some bread for my kids. So that I'm late. So
yeah, brother. Can you join? Or can you maybe come on the call? Okay. Join the link. We'll see you there. All right. So he was able to find some.
I'm joining now.
Mohammed.
All right, we got you, Mohammed. Let me see. I got to adjust it for three folks, but great to see you. Let me see. There we have, folks. It's a little bit of technology challenge here, but we're doing the best we can.
I'm online, brother Jay.
There we go. There we go.
Yes, brother.
So we have Mohammed Habboush. Welcome, Mohammed. And how are you today? How are things? Is it an okay day or a bad one?
Yeah, we are actually from Gaza. I'm sending my best wishes to you. And really, I want to thank my brother Jay. Because really he is just our window to the world. I love you, my brother Jay, because I didn't know what I can do without him. Really, during our evacuation, he stand with us. During our famine, he with us. Actually, I can't forget his standing and his help one day. And I hope find many people like my brother Jay. Please, I want to tell you, we are past in the worst situation. Now one kilo of flour is $20. So we are passing in the worst situation. Brother Jay, I love you. And when I meet you, I will kiss you from your forehead because you are a human. You're a human. You are a human. All my greetings for you. All my greetings for you. All my greetings for you. Actually, thank you, brother. Actually, and I want to thank him also because he introduced me on good people like him. So actually, I'm speechless. We're
so glad to have you here with us, brother. And I was just saying, it's a joy to be your brother. It's a joy to be connected with your family, and we're with you. I said, when we first met, you said, what would you do, brother, if you were me? And I said, Mohammed, I would do the exact same thing to you as you find people with a good heart, a soft heart for Palestine, and we can do what we can. Alhamdulillah, we can do what we can with our connections, and together, brother, I'm so glad that we can have an impact in this world, and to be your voice. You're an amazing father, and the fact that you're protecting your kids in this terrible situation, it's been an inspiration to my life. So welcome here, brother. I'm so glad we can talk together on this show.
Mohammed, can I just jump in? This is Hal. Tell us a little bit about your family and where you are as well, if you can do that.
Yes, so I want to tell you, now we are evacuated from North Gaza to West Gaza because the occupation there. Okay, so I have 2 daughters and I have 1 son. Actually, my brothers, I'm hug them at night because I'm afraid tomorrow in the morning they will die. So I'm hug them every day, and I'm smell they're smelling every day because I'm afraid one day lose them. Because anyone or many people here, they are lose their families, their daughters, their sons, and because so that all the time I'm hug them, I'm smell them, but I want feed them also, and really, if you are leave us, if you are refuse give us your hands, we are die slowly and silently in Gaza. Unfortunately, my brother Jay, he is he is I'm speechless to describe to describe him, but really I'm so thank him because he is bring good people like you to help and to support and to do the best for my family. Really, my oldest daughter, her name Na'ma. When I want to go to looking for some job, some business outside Gaza, outside my house, no, please, Dad, we are afraid you are go without back, without return. So please be with us, because who is will be with us? Who is will pick to us? Who will cook for us? Because and my dad, the life is very hard. Please, we are weak. We are weak without you. So that everyone who has a humanity, everyone who has support, everyone who is advocate about humanity, everyone who is advocate about justice, please, you shouldn't forget us. Please, you shouldn't forget us. We are in big cage. We are in big cage, and we are extend our hand to your hand. Give us your hand. Actually, really,
Can
thank
you,
you, brother Jay. Thank you, brother Jay.
Mohammed? I really
So,
just I don't want to interrupt, but I just have a question. Can you tell folks what it was like that moment for that month or so when there was a ceasefire?
actually, my brother, there is no ceasefire. There is no ceasefire. They all lied to us. Donald Trump and Netanyahu and all these presidents, they are only play with our psychology. There is no ceasefire. We have hopeless about that. Every day, don't worry. Tomorrow you will have good news. If Trump say I have good news next week and after next, they are play with our psychology. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. That's that we can say.
Do you have
We are.
any Do you have any faith in
They are
humanity? Do you have any faith in humanity at this point?
Again, brother, I didn't know your voice. It's returned. It's 2 voices. I didn't know some wrong. I don't know
Just brother, he just asked, do you have any faith in humanity?
Again, brother, I can't.
Do you have any faith in humanity, brother?
Do you have any humanity?
Do you have any belief, any faith in humanity at this point?
Actually, I want to tell you, Brother Jay, I want to tell you something. All the people in the world, they are hearts are dead, unfortunately. Except a few people. The hearts of people, unfortunately, are dead, brother. They are used to see killed, and they are used to see kids without heads, and they are used to find destroyed and to see destroyed houses. And unfortunately, brother, unfortunately, our hearts full of pain. Our heart full of pain. Please, we are ready to kiss your hand. We are ready to kiss your feet. You should to understand and you should to appreciate our situation. This is not life. This punishment, my brother. This punishment.
I want to just say I'm sorry. I know it.
Stop. You shouldn't stand and you are tied your hands. No. You should to be with us, and you should to open window to the world.
We're with you. We're with you, Mohammed.
Thank you, brother.
I'm going to put myself on screen for just a moment, Mohammed. I know it's hollow. It doesn't mean much, but I just want to say I am so sorry for what my country is doing. I am so sorry. And I am Jewish, and I am so sorry for what Israeli Jews are doing and American Jews who support this crime against people.
What's your name? What's your name, brother? Hal?
My name is Ginsberg, Hal Ginsberg.
Excuse me, what's your name?
Ginsberg, Hal Ginsberg.
Hal. Your name, Hal, first name.
That's right. That's right. You got it.
A brother Hal. A brother Hal. A brother Hal. Please, a brother Hal. We don't want only speech, because the actions louder than speech. Please, you shouldn't tie your hands. Our kids, they are dying slowly and silently in Gaza. Do you know their dream will move? My son hide bread in his pocket of his jeans. I'm asking why my son do that. Say, my dad, I'm afraid to be hungry tomorrow. I swear Allah, brother, they are crying because they are starving. We can't buy one bag of flour. It's up of $1,000. We can't. If you are leave us, you mean kill us. Please, my brother Hal, cooperate with my brother Jay and do anything for my family. You shouldn't leave us. You shouldn't leave us. You shouldn't leave us. Because you are human, because you have soft heart, because you have good heart, because you have kids, because you have mother, you have fathers, you have sons, you have daughter, you have family. Brother, we are a human being. We are not bugs. Unfortunately, all the world we with us as bugs. No, we are not bugs, brother. So we are like you. I have family like you, brother.
Absolutely, brother. We are with you, and that's why we talked about support. We talked about aid organizations, how the support can get to the people of Gaza. And right now, there are direct lifelines that we have with the Habboush family, with people that we can help directly. And so everybody that has questions about it, find me on Facebook, find me on TikTok. We can find the ways to establish these connections that can make a world of difference, as you can tell. And there are many ways that we can make it possible. Mohammed here has taken the opportunity to help his neighbors, help his family, help other people that are coming to him on TikTok asking for support. And we've helped many people. So directly helping the people in Gaza is an amazing, an amazing way to help for survival. And so it's really, really special to be here today. And brother Mohammed, I want to say what Hal said again. We are truly sorry. We're truly sorry that this is what's happening from the United States government, because it's terrible and we must stop it.
Brother, you haven't need to be sorry. You are apply what you did the best. I know, but I hope from my brother Hal, please, my brother Hal, do and cooperate with my brother Jay. Please, I'm bugged to you. Please, I have kids. I'm patient, brother, on hunger. I'm patient, but the kids can't patient. When they are come, my dad, we are hungry. My dad, we are starving. What I can do for them.
We know you're busy, brother, as well. So thank you for coming on. And if you need to go, brother, we understand.
God bless you, Mohammed. Salam alaikum. All right, I think we're going to have to cut it at this point. Also, Jay, because I know you have to go as well.
I can stay a little bit, but brother, I just want to say,
I'm going to just let him go.
Okay. Well, I'm so glad that worked out. Thank you for the space.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. So glad that Mohammed could call. And I mean, I hate to even let him go because it was so important to talk, but he obviously was dealing with his family. And I mean, I know this is going to sound sort of like, I don't know, maybe not as relevant, but when he was talking about his children and they're hungry, you know, I was looking in my backyard and we have little robins nests, and the little baby robins, when they hatch and they just start calling for food, and the mom and dad they are out, both of them, because the robins, both parents feed the kids, and they are just out constantly flying around getting worms for their children. And that is across species. That is what the love that you have for your child, and that you will do whatever you have to do to keep them alive. Absolutely. And that's what Mohammed is talking about.
Oh, and you know, he sent videos of Siwar. Nema is his oldest daughter. Siwar is his youngest daughter. Nema, his oldest, and videos that he sent me of Siwar just crying, rolling on the floor, crying out in hunger, asking for food, and it's a primal need that we all have, and that we all would know. If our child is there crying out for food, what would we stop at to get them food? You know, nothing. And when we can help them, when we can continue to bring awareness and justice to this matter in whatever way we can find, it's an ingrained part of life. And especially that, I think we all know, if losing a child as a parent would be one of the hardest things to ever go up against, it's directly connected to every parent's experience in Gaza. So no, I appreciate it so much, how like this cross connection, and as Mohammed said, a window into human life in Palestine.
Jay, let me just real quick, I know you have to run, but we do have a caller, and I'd like to let the caller on. So go ahead, caller.
Hi, Hal, it's Stephanie. I just want to say that this episode has been heartbreaking. I'm so glad I caught it. It needs to be shared everywhere. and I'm never going to forget it. So I'm going to ask people to watch it. Mohammed's pleas were so heartrending. So here's my comments. I would like to hear what you guys think of this, you and Jay. It seems like what he's pleading for is direct action, not just support. And I obviously, Jay, I looked you up and I see that page says that you support military action to stop what's going on in Gaza, and I agree. But I don't think our governments are going to step up. I don't see prospects of any government stepping up. And the only thing I think could work is if a huge mass of people, because so many people all over the world from so many countries are so against this, a huge mass of people assembled on the border physically, like from all countries. And I just wanted to know if anybody's planning that or what you think of that. I mean, it's terrifying to even think of. I'm 61. I just went through cancer treatment, but I'd freaking go, man. I think there has to be a mass of people that show up. And then my other thing after you address that is really more to Hal. As a Jewish man, I've had so many Jewish friends with humanistic values and really caring about injustice. And that's why I have so many humanistic Jewish friends. And I'm wondering what your perspective is about how it's so important to what it really means to be Jewish and to your humanistic values and your values having been raised in Jewish culture for your brothers and sisters in American Jewry to stand up against this from a moral perspective.
All right. Thanks so much, Stephanie, for the call and the questions. I'm going to go to Jay first, and then I got to let Stephanie go. If you can listen on offline or online or however the expression is, because Jay, I know you got to run, but if you want to respond briefly to Steph.
I mean, honestly, I'd love to extend for this. I'm the schedule of an organizer is always up and down, and I'd be happy to move some things around because this conversation, Stephanie, bless you. Thank you. I think that your experience is very similar to mine, and first hearing from Mohammed and having that direct human reach out of what's the living, breathing, thankfully, somehow, truth on the ground in Gaza, that when there are those that we can connect with, that can have a heart, that can throw our hands in this fight in a good way, it's a big calling. So thank you for being there, and whatever ideas, if you could reach out on Facebook as well, I'd love to be connected, because there's ways that these experiences and these human expressions can, as activism can do, can break through to many. But to answer you, what you're directly saying, yes, I do support what is really protected by the Geneva Convention to stop genocide of any nation to disrupt the mass slaughter that is happening. I absolutely support other militaries to going in there to stop this genocide, as again we are obliged to as nations that respect international law. But in a sense of direct action, that I agree with you in your breakdown of giving our hands. There is the hands that we can contribute to mutual aid, to raising funds. That is key, absolutely instrumental. And with the direct action piece, we saw the Freedom Flotilla go across the Mediterranean to Gaza. They got captured illegally, kidnapped, taken, deported. But there are more efforts being spun up in that light. There are a initiative from Malaysia saying 1,000 boats. They want to send 1,000 boats to Gaza. They're preparing another boat called the Handala, which is the boy figure that represents the BDS movement. There is a ship called the Handala that is setting sail for Gaza here again pretty soon. And so, but I'm with you, Stephanie. We need to take into the people's hands every way we can. There was the march to Gaza that was not allowed to approach the southern border by the Egyptian government, unfortunately. But anything we can think of to directly support these people and stop this travesty, this human catastrophe, we must do and get creative to do. And so new ideas can be born all the time. And I have a lot of experience in direct action and direct aid at this point. It's really unstable to put our trust in our government, especially the American government, let alone, other institutions that should be there to protect human life.
Yeah, I can just second everything you said there. I mean, our institutions that many of us put faith in have betrayed us repeatedly, and not just government, but when I was a kid, the New York Times was sort of the Bible, right? I mean, if it was the New York Times, you believe it. It's completely failed us. It has demonstrated its fealty to the billionaire class, to the war class, to the murderers. And I mean, that's just one example, and they're just legend. Jay, I just briefly would respond to what Stephanie asked about being Jewish. My answer to why there are Jews who support Israel, so many, and obviously the younger Jewish people, I'm not one of them. I'm older. When my generation can't really it refuses to wrap its arms or head around just how evil, how corrupt Israel is. They can't do it. But my answer to that is, I think it's innate also. This is tribalism. I mean, it's in the Bible. You people are innately tribal, and they associate themselves in a small group with a small group. And one group that Jews obviously is Jewish people in Israel. We have been trained, we have been propagandized to believe that is our fate is tied up with, is entwined with Israel. And even if it's my country, right or wrong, and even if Israel is doing bad things, we have to support it, because if Israel goes, and I've heard this, I talk to people who are critical of Israel, Jewish people I grew up with, but their answer is, in the end, if we don't protect Israel, if we don't defend Israel, then we're going to go in the ovens. That's how they see it. And I at some point, you can't really reason with that primal fear that you'll be a victim again, and that the only way you can avoid being a victim is by victimizing others.
Yeah, I think if we find ways to break down that illusion of separability, any form of life, even in a jungle in South America, that is largely uncontacted, they're seeing microplastics. They're seeing the temperatures rise. They're seeing all their life's conditions change because of the way the world is acting. So even in that example, there's no separability. So if anybody's being put in oven, or a proverbial oven of a tent that's getting bombed and burned, then anybody is at risk of that. And so anyway, I appreciate your answer very much there, Hal. I think that compassion, and that's what's one of the hardest things. I'm not a practicing Jewish person myself, but I love, through all my activism, the amazing Jewish leaders and Jewish women that have been stepping forth for climate in the concept of Tikkun Olam, that just to repair the world, and to know it's such prevalent leadership in these spaces. And to see the Jewish religion and Jewish faith get so weaponized by a place that is propping up as some kind of ethno state that is supreme. It's really troubling. And my great grandfather, whose name was Paul Israel Waxse, is rolling before the nation state existed. Is really frustrated with what's happening here, and it's not making anyone safer.
I was thinking of this, Jay, by the way, we've got another caller we'll take in a moment, but I was thinking what you were talking is there's this mythology among Jews, and there's evidence, and you can cite, right, that there's this Jewish superiority, and we'll talk about all the Nobel Prize winners and this and that Jews have created. And it is impressive. I mean, no question about it. But that has morphed from, hey, our duty, to the extent that maybe we value education, we value going out in the world and being successful, means we have to make it a better place, right? We have to make it a place where everyone has enough and no one has too much, has curdled. It has become this toxic ideology that we get what whatever we can take and it's ours and we deserve it and we're always the victims, right? Which is incredibly self-serving. It's incredibly self-justifying, and it's tragic. And we're seeing, I think, bringing the world could very well bring about the end of the world.
Well, we're seeing how, why makes a lot of sense, this connection between America and Israel in really nefarious ways. Like, look at the weaponization of Christianity that happens here. We see so many values that are very much not in line with a Palestinian Jew in the name of Jesus, that talked about doing justice, loving mercy, and walking humbly with God. Where is that in what Republican senators are putting in this new bill? It's not there. And people weaponizing faiths, it's happening in the Christian and Jewish realms. People talk about it all the time, weaponizing Islam, but I don't even really know what Islam is, while we have the examples right in front of us of people justifying ethnic cleansing and worse.
Well, and also just in terms of Christianity, the Pope, Catholic, not all Christians are Catholic, obviously, but has spoken, both popes who have been alive during this Holocaust have spoken so eloquently on behalf of the victims of Israel. And yet many, many Catholics just won't hear it, refuse to hear it. So you're right. It's ecumenical inhumanity. All right, caller, we've got you. I'm sorry, Jay, to cut you off real quick. Real quick, caller, we got you.
Hey, it's Ari, Hal. Just a quick call. And thank you both for what you're doing. You're doing amazing work. So I just wanted to go back real quick and what you said earlier, Hal, about, American Jews across the world are taught that if Israel is not protected, is not defended, it's going to be destroyed or whatever, they're going to attack them. But that's the irony, that Israel is going on a path of self-destruction herself with the way it's acting out of control.
Agreed, 100%. It's they're making us all less safe, Jews and non-Jews alike.
Like, how is the world going to see what's happening now? Is this the final solution to the Gazan people? Are they going to genocide all of them by pushing them down by Rafah, wherever that place is called, they're using the word concentration, concentrated. I mean, it's looking like concentration camps, really. I hate to say it, but
well, it's gone from concentration camps to death camps. It was concentration camps. They herded the Palestinian Gazan people into a tiny little region between the desert and the sea, and now they're exterminating them. That's what Israel is doing. And you see the same process on the West Bank, a slightly slower motion, but not that much slower. It's awful, Ari. I don't know what
How is Israel going to get out of it? Let's say they do that, the genocide, or kick everybody out, half of them. How is the world going to stand back and say, that never happened? Are we going to just expunge it? I mean, I'm just raising the question rhetorically. How is Israel going to survive its own genocide? I just don't see it. That's not a final solution. It's a total self-destruction. It's suicide by genocide. Thank you, Hal.
All right. Thank you so much, Ari. I mean, you hope there's justice. You hope there's justice in the world, and the hangmen are ultimately hang themselves. And sometimes that happens, but not always.
Well, and maybe I could share one last thing, and then I could depart if that works for you, huh?
Yeah, no, we're good. We're good.
But and I gotta say, I have only slight misgivings about this American flag that's waving between us, because no, I you know what? It's very clear, Ari. Much love. So thanks to you for your expression there. And I see a lot of similarities yet again with the way the dispossession of land has happened in Palestine and occupied Palestine. What we know as Israel, as of now, it follows a very similar tract as what we see in this land, also known as Turtle Island. The way North America was before settlers came here, we have never reconciled the harms of genocide and slavery that are ongoing in this land. And until we do, we won't have any healthy, self-preserving bases for knowing that human dignity and life and the pursuit of happiness is actually a value of ours. And so Where is it going to come from? I don't think we see it in our governmental leaders very much, but I think that we are getting more and more folks awakened to the fact that we need to take things into our own hands. And if that's citizens' assemblies, Ireland had great success with citizens' assemblies decades ago when they brought same-sex marriage to their government. They brought that with a citizen assembly. You can bring things with general strikes and pressure our governments to make change. And so I think we need to start thinking on that level. And if that can exist within movements in Israel as well, we talked about this on the podcast. There's good people everywhere, and if there are folks caught in a web of propaganda and dehumanization, we've got to find ways to unwind that thread everywhere we can. And if enough of us do it, we will do it. Revolutions happen, and we can't necessarily predict them, but if we can base this on compassion and love for the people of Gaza, I can think of no better focus than.
All right, Jay Waxse, we appreciate you so much for joining us. Again, the question asked and answered is, how can we help? The first thing I would just say is go to tiktok.com/@waxsebird. That would be a very important step. And, for my own self, whatever, for my own, to help me become a member of subscribe to Halitics, right? That's the other thing. But first and foremost, right now, when we talk about Gaza, which we do every day on this program, I urge you to inform yourself as much as you can through Jay's great TikTok and his Facebook page. Jay, thanks so much. Don't be a stranger. We're going to have to revisit this in a month or so and see where things are.
Oh, thank you so much. Bless you, my friend. Your commitment to justice and conversation and love is really impressive. And each little piece that we can add up towards that justice and truth of humanity, it's going to get us there. So thank you so much. I've got links in my bio on Facebook and on TikTok to help these families that we just met today. Mohammed, everybody, just think of Mohammed and know that he's asking for our hands. And in all the ways that we can find our hands together, we'll free Palestine. We'll have, and especially led by the people of Palestine. But I'm so happy if anybody wants to reach out on TikTok, on Facebook. You can find it again with my name there. Would love to connect. And just thanks again, Hal.